So let's get fucking into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Barroom Boys. Here today with Hodska, and we got our boy Beeve back in the building. Beeve, it's been a little while. How you doing, my dude?
Yeah, I'm back in the stew. It feels good to be chopping it up with the boys again. We all podcast and we do this for fun, but we all got day jobs here, and sometimes it gets a little stressful. And me, I got to work, and so that's what was going on. But I'm back. I'm better than ever. I got a little beard growing that I gotta trim a little bit for the holiday party this week. I was talking with Hodska. He's got his tomorrow.
I
Going
do.
bowling with the team.
I am.
That's great bonding with the people that you spend 40 hours a week with.
Yeah, someone in my office, apparently like the HR person sent out like a company email saying that someone has allegedly in our office bowled the 300 before.
Nah,
And so it's a team event. So I don't know if this person's on my team or not on my team. I'm assuming they're not on my team, but I'm excited to see if they like just pull up and shoot like a casual 270 or something like
This
that.
guy's gonna pull up with a backpack with his own bowling balls. He's
Oh
got
yeah,
one of
probably.
those gloves. He's like, I'm gonna hit a strike.
well, let me ask you this, Hod. Is the boss playing?
Yeah.
Are you on the same team as the boss?
No.
The 300 guy is not on your team, big dog. I hate to break it to you, but
Oh,
they're
I know.
not in
Considering
hell.
it's like the whole office is split up between like teams. I think it's teams of 6, and there's like 12 teams, and then some people just aren't playing or can't go.
Yeah.
Um, but I only have like one other male on my team, and I know the guy, and I don't think he's bowled the 300. I can't picture him, so and I know it ain't me. And I'm just going out on a limb here and saying it's a guy. I could be stereotyping here, but we'll see.
Careful now, Hod.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I got
Hey, I'd love it if it was a girl on my team. That'd be great. Walk out of there with the win.
You guys just got to be the fun squad. Just get hammered and not really care. Maybe do a couple trick shots, a little
I don't
between the
think I can
legs
get.
action.
I can't get hammered because I have to drive 2.5 hours home afterwards. But
Yeah, that's 2.5 hours is kind of
yeah, I have to
nuts.
go out. I have to go out to Long Island tomorrow, so that's it's a commute.
Oof.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to Smeej, our buddy Evan, yesterday, and he's talking to a girl out on Long Island. They got like a little long distance relationship going now.
Oh wow.
Smeej in the city.
Good for
Yeah,
Smee.
got my holiday party on Saturday. I'm bringing a charcuterie board, so uh,
Very nice.
very exciting.
Are
Very
you gonna
exciting.
buy it or are you gonna make
Yeah,
it?
what you should make it.
I've never had a charcuterie board before, so I don't know why I picked it, but I think I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna go to the store, get some gabagool, get some cheese and crackers, maybe
So
some.
I saw this thing my mom did. It's gonna make it perfect. Like you're gonna be the talk of the party. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a cup. You're gonna fold meat over the edge of the cup, and then you flip the cup upside down on the board, and you take the cup up, and there's like a flower of meat on the board, centerpiece of your board.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, just like you will be the talk of the party. All the girls will be like, "How did he do that? That's husband material right there."
I'm
And
gonna
you're in, Beeve. You're
I
in.
might have to hit you up later this week and have your mom send me a video or something.
You know
Step by
she'll help
step.
you out too. She'll give you every little thing you should get
Yeah,
for
I
your
know.
board.
I know. I know. I'll be in touch, Mondo. I'll be in touch with the Mondos.
All right. Yeah, I don't have a holiday party, so it
That's
kind of
tough.
sucks ass, but
Why
live one
not?
for me, guys.
Well, I guess this is your like busiest time or one of them, right? Bowl
Yeah,
season.
I mean it's chaos right now, and we're moving offices, so
Hmm.
like it's not really that shocking that we're not having a party, but I'd like the chance to have a party.
Do you know where you're
Yeah.
moving to? Is it nice?
We're in the square, city place.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Do you know where that old bowling alley used to be?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
definitely.
yeah. No,
I thought Beeve might know.
I don't know.
Um,
I've never been there a lot.
but we're right where the bowling alley used to be.
Yeah, I used to bowl 300s there all the time
Yeah, I'm sure,
with that
huh?
guy with the guy I'm working with.
Poor girl.
I'm
Poor
sure.
girl.
I'm
Or
sure
girl,
you're
or girl.
Mr. Perfect Score over there. He's been to every bowling alley on the East Coast.
Exactly. He probably knows where your office is.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean,
Or
I heard
she.
it's a legendary bowling alley. 2-for-1 drinks. Can't
Oh,
get
nice.
much better than that.
Yeah, that person's probably definitely been there then.
That's probably why they're out of business.
Honestly, yeah, that is probably exactly why. No, you can only bowl so many games before you fall over at that place.
Yeah.
It was
The
a
thing
tough
about
way to
bowling is
survive.
that, like, in today's times, in Joe Biden's America, it's probably a little pricey. I haven't been recently. I wouldn't know. It's probably like, 30, $35 for 2 games, and that's not
Yeah.
enough bowling. You always want to play more.
Yeah, I guess
Oh,
now it's like I think it's more dependent on time. So I guess
Mhm.
they say like the average is like takes like 30 minutes to bowl 10 frames, depending on how many people. So it's usually you pay for like 30 minutes or an hour or like more.
mm,
Yeah, we went on Friday and we bowled for like an hour and a half. We got 2 games in. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we're not very good and it was like 4 of us, so but it was bowling. I haven't bowled in a while. Started
Yeah.
off the night with 2 strikes, then had a couple beers, and
Went
it all
downhill.
fell apart from there. So
How it goes. I think bowling is one of the most like demoral. It's kind of like golf because it's just about yourself. Like if you hit like a
yeah,
good shot in golf or like you hit a strike in bowling, you're like, yeah, let's go. Then you just hit like a gutter ball or like shank
mm.
it in the woods, and you're just like
bro. Everyone like you're
a
bowling in
roller
front of
coaster.
everyone. You turn around, they're all laughing.
Yeah,
Like it's such a horrible feeling, man. Absolutely horrible.
Well, you got to get those gutters up.
yeah.
Dude, hell no. We
I used to
We've all
love
been
those
there.
playing with the gutters up. I'd bowl like a
Yeah,
200 every time. It was
yeah,
great.
we've all been there when you were a kid. Got the gutters up. You just fucking toss his little zigzagger all the way up
Oh
yeah.
there.
yeah.
You'd see how early you could throw it into the gutter and still
Yeah,
get it
yeah.
down.
Oh yeah.
You
That was
count how
always
many
the move.
bounces it takes, and you try to beat each other by counting pins and bounces, total score.
Yo, so I didn't know this until pretty recently. I forgot what I was reading, but back in the day, before they had like the machines that would pick the pins up, they used to have what's called like pin attendants who worked at the bowling alley
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
worked at a lane and like would actually, put the pins back, which is crazy.
Well, I saw on TikTok, there's a guy with like 3 million followers, and all he does is just unclog the bowling, like the conveyor belts. Like that's all he does, and people love it.
Where they get
Like it's
clogged with,
such a great job.
where they get clogged, they get clogged with balls.
Yeah, somehow like they just clog up. Like I don't know how that's possible. I feel like it's timed out, but yeah, they clogs and then like he starts filming. The ball's like flying around the back of the bowling alley, and he's like, I gotta fix it, guys. And he'll like zoom in on his hand, just shoving it up the fucking conveyor belt. Gets
Yeah, I
like a
gotta look that up.
million likes every fucking time. It's actually insane.
I've never seen the behind the scenes of a bowling lane.
It's quite interesting.
I've never
It is
seen
not what you would think,
I'm assuming it's just
truthfully.
a bunch of machines.
Yeah. Well, maybe it is what you would think. Either way, it's like a back room. Very weird. So, um, speaking of very weird stuff, let's go ahead. Let's get into it. The college football playoffs. They have officially been announced. The committee has made their decision. And holy shit, what a controversial one it is. As we see Michigan at the 1, Washington at the 2, Texas sneaks in at the 3, and not the 13-0 Florida State at 4. It is Alabama, the SEC champion, sneaking in at that 4 spot. Todd, I'll start with you. What are you thinking about these rankings?
No, I think the committee got it dead right, if I'm being completely honest. I actually think that Georgia should be ahead of Florida State, but that doesn't matter at that point. They're both playing each other. Um, the end of the day, you look at it, Michigan and Washington, they were always getting in. They won, took care of business, undefeated, bish bash bosh, they're in. 3, Texas, they won convincingly. They beat Alabama. Their one loss is Red River. It's tough. Like, that's a tough environment. They lost in like a last second touchdown with, what was it, 8 seconds to go or something like that. Dylan Gabriel threw it at that time. So that was a good game. Yeah, he is in the transfer portal now. He's probably going to Oregon, play some Bo Nix.
Yes, sir.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Apparently he started following a bunch of Oregon people on Twitter and was like tweeting at him.
Oh.
So
Odds are college football insider.
yeah. But in terms of Texas, I think they deserved it. They're definitely back. And back they should like this playoff. I think they actually will make the final. I think they beat Washington, and then I don't think they'll win the championship, but at least they'll make the final, in my opinion. And then the doozy, Alabama, the debate, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida State. I just think on paper, it was always going to be the spot between, like, if Georgia won, they were going to stay the 1 seed. If Alabama beat Georgia, then they were going to get the 4 seed, just in my head. There's the whole reason of like, oh, like, then why don't we play games or any, like, why do we play a regular season? It's like when you play a regular season, like, it's like kind of Cincinnati, and we saw how Cincinnati was in the playoff and they got waxed. You saw why UCF wasn't in the playoff a couple years ago when they went undefeated. Like the
ACU last
ACC,
year.
even though they, I guess, were above 500 this year against the SEC. The SEC was weaker this year in terms of having great teams, but it had a lot of good teams. Like, you had Ole Miss, you had Missouri, Georgia, LSU, Alabama. You had 6 of the 14 teams in the conference, like, in the top 25. So it still necessarily didn't drop off. Whereas the ACC, you only had 3 teams in the top 25. And FSU played all 3 of those teams tight. They could have lost either way. They could have lost to Boston College when that game went to overtime. They should have lost to Clemson at Clemson, but they escaped with that one because of a stupid flat. Like, I just thought FSU wasn't that great all season, and to put them in the playoff against Michigan, they'd get waxed, especially without Jordan Travis. Now, if they had Jordan Travis, I think they get in. But just the entertainment value, I think you're looking at it from a business standpoint, it's not going to sell, or people aren't going to watch a Michigan versus Florida State. They're much more rather going to watch Saban versus Harbaugh. And also, based on the committee's perspective of having head coaches on the thing, every single head coach that was on the committee said that they would rather play Florida State than Alabama, which tells you that Florida State's a weaker team. And you saw it from Michigan's reaction at their watch party when they all got up and had their hands on their head and were like screaming like shit. So I think they got it dead on. I'm excited for the games. In my opinion, I think Alabama's going to win it all. The fuel of the fire, Saban's just going to kill it. I'd love to see Michigan win it all too. I think the winner comes in from that game. I don't think really Texas or Washington, while they're good teams, I don't think they can beat Michigan or Alabama. But yeah, I mean, it's a crazy year of college football, and if Michigan wins and caps it off, boy, this would be one for the Bucks.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't think
tough,
said
but
it better.
Beav, I'll let you take it over. But it's a tough decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hod said it perfectly. I mean, when you look at it, I'm in agreement that, like, how can you leave 13-0 FSU out regardless of whether they have their quarterback or not, right? He's one player on a team of 22 guys on the field, 50 plus guys on a roster. Like, how do you leave Florida State out? Then you look at it holistically, and unfortunately, it's out of our hands how many teams there could be in this playoff, right? I mean, it's been 4 teams for 10 years now. There's been some wild times, not as wild as this year, but you look at it, at the team Florida State is right now. You look at the team that Alabama is right now, and Alabama, I mean, you can make a really good argument that they're probably the best of the 4 teams that are left, right? I mean, you cannot say that with FSU. So I think the committee got it right. I mean, it's tough. We hate Florida State, we're Gators, but like, you look at the season they had, and you can just like imagine yourself being a fan of that team and thinking like, well, what more can you do? I think it's great that they get to match up against Georgia and kind of see how they fare against a team that just won 2 national championships, right? I think, that's a good move by
They're gonna get
whoever's
whacked.
making the bowl schedule. But yeah, I mean, Alabama came from nowhere, right? I mean,
Mhm.
they were overlooked in the beginning of the season, right? They lost to Texas early.
Mhm.
They almost lost to South Florida. If you were watching that game,
Yep.
they were down. They had like 0 points going into the late third, early fourth quarter. They pulled
Auburn
through,
too.
and then they just rolled through the rest of the season. They beat a good Ole Miss team. They beat LSU. They beat all the teams they needed to beat. They did everything they needed to do. They took down Georgia. And bottom line is the SEC's won what, like, I don't even know the number, but they won like 75% of the national championships in the college football playoff era. You can't leave out the SEC championship. I was I made a joke the other day. The SEC championship is natty light,
Yep.
and it really is. Like, I mean, hats off to FSU. Great season. It sucks. Whatever. Jordan Travis probably feels like shit, but you got to put Alabama in. I mean, they beat Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough because the whole system is flawed. And I knew it from the day they announced the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
You have a power five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 conferences that will always have at least one team willing to go to the playoffs or deserving to go to the playoffs. And the whole system is built so that one team will always find their way to be left out. And in every single little rule book that they have for selections, there's always like a little, fine print. This could happen, and that's why they're out. This could happen, that's why we're out. And we see it every year. Like there's a new rule that comes up every single year that's like, this is why that 5 team is out. And it
Mhm.
just so happens that in the rule book, there's a key player fine print thing that if they don't have a key player and it could impact their performance, see ya. So it's like, thank God we are moving into a 12-team playoff because it is just, and this is just me being unbiased at this point. It's not just to have, a conference champion, an undefeated team not be in the playoffs. Like
Mhm.
logically, regardless if they lose, their QB, they should still be making the playoffs based on track record. As a Gator fan, obviously, I'm very glad they're not. But, that 12-team format's going to eliminate all of these issues come next year. So it's like, thank God we are getting away from it because it is just driving me crazy watching some new rule come up every single year. And one fan base is always outraged. And it just so
Yep.
happens it's like our biggest rival. So, it's as much as like I love they're not in it. Like it's such a brutal, brutal way to end such a great season.
Mm.
Yeah. I love
So
the take of like, what if FSU just lied and said like Jordan Travis, instead of saying he was out for the year, when he was ruled out for the year, said he was like week to week.
Yeah, like we didn't see his
They
leg
get in
fly
then.
on national
Like,
television.
I love all the
yeah, I don't know. His shit snapped like celery. So I don't know that we would have gotten away with that one.
Yeah.
That would have been some serious faking that would have needed to be done.
Yeah. Well, now they're in the portal. They already most likely found their next quarterback in DJ Uyunglele.
Mhm.
Now, is FSU going to leave the ACC?
So
No.
that's what I was talking to a lot of the FSU fans in the office about. Because, the ACC, let's face it, they're like the little brother of the Power Five conferences. Like they never get respect because it's so top heavy that, there's not that much competition. Granted, the ACC beat the SEC 6-4 head on this year.
Clemson,
With that
historically.
being said, like the rest of their schedule was so weak. Like
Yeah.
FSU had the 55th ranked strength of schedule. Like that should come into play.
Yeah.
So if it's me and if I'm an FSU donor, I'm looking at our options. I'm trying to weigh it and see, is it worth making a jump to like the SEC or, the Big 12 or, one of these other conferences? Because clearly, regardless of how well you do in the ACC, you will never get respect. Like that's just how it is, plain and simple.
I feel like now
Clemson,
they're even more screwed too for next year because of the whole everything reformatting with Texas and Oklahoma
mm,
joining the SEC. Now the Big 12 isn't as valuable. The Pac-12 is just dissolved completely, basically. So now
yeah,
it's just kind of the Big 10, SEC, and I guess the ACC. But the ACC realistically you have Clemson, Florida State, and Miami. Like one of those
mm,
three is probably going to win it. So
yeah. So I know I said all that, but I do not think they should leave the ACC because when you're expanding to this 12-team playoff, now a 13-0 record is damn sure guaranteed to get you in that playoff.
yeah,
And a winning record, 2 losses or less, you are damn sure to get into that playoff in a Power 5 conference. Like that's why, as much as it sucks, as much as people want them to leave the ACC, as much as every single FSU fan is begging for a change, stick it out till next year. It'll be better. You'll have a weak schedule. No offense, but you'll have a weaker schedule. You'll win your games, and then you will find yourself one of those 12 teams. That's just how it's going to work. And it's why the ACC is going to have a lot more teams featured in the playoffs in the coming years. Because now SEC stacked, Big 10 stacked, Big 12 stacked. So, it's tough. Like, it's going to be tough to be one of those 3 conferences. Pac-12 went poof. They're no more. So if you're an FSU fan, just hold on tight. It's a tough time right now, but it'll get better. I promise. Just win your games next year, and this will never fucking happen again. I can guarantee you that.
yeah. Well, it's
I
tough
like
now.
that take,
Go ahead,
but
B.
I think we should just put them in the SEC. I think you should take FSU, you should take Clemson, take Miami. Maybe throw in like Duke or UNC or something. Just throw them in the SEC. Let them all, fucking fight to the death or whatever. And I think it'll elevate the competition. I think Clemson being in the SEC is long overdue. They've been, doing their part. They were the old Florida State. They're probably what Florida State is becoming. But, throw Florida State in the SEC, throw Miami in the SEC. Just let them all slug it out in the Southeast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing with Florida State is like this was their season to do it. Every single person on their offense and defense every single person on their offense was either a junior or senior starting. I think like 8 of them were seniors out of the 11 starters on the offense. And defense, they had a bunch of upperclassmen. They had Jared Verse opted to come back. He would have been a low first round pick last year. Now he came back and is probably a top 15 pick this year. And so this was their year to just make a run and establish it. And they did all they could. Just it sucks.
Yeah.
It really does. It really does suck.
Gonna have to attack the portal hard. Try to
So,
replicate.
At the end of the day, we got the best 4 teams. That's all you can ask for, right? We don't have the Cincinnati's. We don't have the TCU's.
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
And, if TCU doesn't do what they did last year, I mean, Florida State's in. So it has to do with the recency bias of TCU losing their best players and getting absolutely curb stomped in the title game. So,
And the SEC bias, but deservedly so.
yeah. With that being said, let's take it to like a kind of a bowl conversation. I've seen a lot of takes on Twitter, and I want to hear you guys' opinion on this. Should FSU just like not play in the Orange Bowl?
No,
Absolutely not.
yeah, they
Because
should.
that was a trending topic on Twitter.
Uh,
And I would love to hear you talk about it.
you got it first, Beef.
I mean, you're playing Georgia. You're playing a team that won 29 games in a row before they lost to probably the best team in the country now. This is your chance to prove to the committee that they got it wrong. And if they beat Georgia, UCF and their natty is bullshit, but FSU beats Georgia, they could probably claim stake to, winning something. I don't know. I think it's a great test for them. I don't know why they would even think about sitting out or anything like that, especially for all the juniors and seniors, like Odd mentioned, right? This is your last time to showcase your talent before you head to the draft, right? Some of these guys might not be on radars. You have a good game against Georgia in the Orange Bowl on national TV, boost your draft stock 100%. I mean, they're playing in the Orange Bowl. They got their home crowd with them against Georgia. I just don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I mean, you look at it from a perspective like, okay, a couple people are probably debating sitting out of the game due to the NFL draft and declaring early and gonna sit out, which is on both sides of the ball when you were a top 5 and 6 team, and especially Georgia and Florida State with high caliber players. So that kind of still evens it out for both teams. But Florida State should definitely play this game. I don't see a reason why they wouldn't play this game. Just for the sake of their fans and their like fan base and what they've been through the past 48, 72 hours, like play the game and show them that we're real and the committee made a mistake, like Jack said, and go in there and try to beat Georgia. Now, as an unbiased perspective, do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not. I think Georgia curb stomps them, and I hate Georgia too, so I'm not being biased here. I think Georgia beats the shit out of them. It could be like a 50-point game, but they should still at least try and be like, hey, like, you know what? It's either we're gonna say like, okay, Florida State could have made the playoff and they could have competed, or thank God they lost by 50. We made the right call. So try to prove us wrong. There's a lot of people pretty 50-50 right now, based on like people think Florida State should have been in or left out. Prove the 50% that think you shouldn't have been or you should have been in wrong.
I mean, it's really a win-win, right? You get curb stomped, oh, we weren't starting our best players, Jordan Travis out. You play hard, you get curb stomped. Oh, we weren't even trying. Georgia, they're natty champs and all that. I mean, you can't lose.
Yeah.
Except the game. They'll lose the game.
Yeah.
They'll win in morale.
I think a lot of that, as far as what was being said on Twitter, was just like, what the fuck else do we have to prove? Like, we went 13-0. 2 other teams did that. They made the playoffs. We won our conference championship. 4 teams that did that made the playoffs. So it's like, at what point is it just like enough is enough? Like, we don't, like, that's what they were all saying. Like, what the fuck else do we have to do?
I mean, it's tough too because you look at their schedule. I think the record was like 68-74 of teams that they like combined that they played against or something like that. I know it was below 500.
It was bad.
And I love how they're trying to say like, oh, we got 2 big wins against the SEC, and they're using Florida as like a big win. I mean, like,
and LSU lost, 3 games.
Yeah, and like we beat LSU at a neutral site in Orlando. Keep in mind, in basically a home game for Florida State, week 1, and we beat Florida in the Swamp when it's the backup bowl. And we went 5-7, and we went on we're on a 5-game losing streak. Like, it's not that impressive.
No, the same FSU fans that are saying we got great wins against, Florida. I mean, these are the same people that also told us we were terrible after the game.
Oh, yeah.
That we were one of the worst teams ever. So it's just like,
it's a bunch of hypocrites because they're like, oh, yeah, you guys suck. And then you're like, oh, it's a great win because it's a rivalry game. Because it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, but it was a great win. Like, we needed to win that game. You called us shit 2 hours ago. Like, come on.
Just ridiculous.
Boston College, and you look at him and you're like, was Boston College shit? You only beat him by 2 in overtime. Like, just goes both ways, man.
I keep thinking back to that 4th and 31 in the Iron Bowl and how things could have changed.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely insane play.
Yeah. I mean, Florida State should be blaming Auburn. That's what they should be doing. Stop blaming the committee. Go straight to Hugh Freeze and Auburn and say, what the hell did you do?
No, dead ass though. I mean, that was just like, it all comes down to that. And it's so bad to say, but like, Auburn fucked everything up. Literally everything. Like, you're just like, come on, man. Like, all you had to do was tackle the motherfucker. That's it. Or just
not even tackle the guy. All you had to do was just put another guy on him.
Pass.
All you had to do was jump.
I think they rushed 2 on that play.
Yeah.
It's just so bad, bro. Did you see Hot? I don't know if you saw, but Beav, I'm sure you saw. DeSantis is raising $1 million to sue the
I
college
saw
football
that.
playoff
Like,
committee.
what's that gonna do?
I didn't
What's
see
it
that.
gonna
I
do?
saw Senator Rick Scott wrote a pretty poignant letter.
Dude, we got lawsuits coming in now.
Blame
You got lawsuits about a college football.
Auburn.
The game's in 25 days, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we could sue them, get it overturned, and then Florida State will be in again, and then we'll
Like,
get a
bro,
rematch
that's
of
not
Alabama,
how that
Georgia."
shit works. What the fuck are you doing? Like,
Uh,
bro, go fucking figure out some real political shit to solve. Solve hunger. Don't solve fucking college football playoffs. What's
Yeah.
that gonna do for us?
Between Michigan and like the Michigan scandals and this Florida State committee scandal, I mean, it's a crazy year for college
What a
football.
hell of a year.
at the end of the day, I mean, Alabama, Michigan, you can't ask for much more than that at the Rose Bowl. I mean, that is going to be
It's
absolutely
like your
a classic.
typical, just beautiful, aesthetically pleasing matchup.
Beautiful. Absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful. Texas
best-
Washington is going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah. Best thing too is I love that people are on Twitter are starting to compare like they're looking at it comparing like Florida State to the NFL where it's like, oh, the Jaguars were on such a high and now Trevor Lawrence could be injured long term. Are they going to make the playoffs now? It's like the same shit. It goes both sides where it's like people are like the switch up is crazy where it's like, okay, they're the best team in the AFC right now based on record. Their quarterback goes down. Will they make the playoffs, let alone win the division? Is the talk. So, and it's the same people too that you scroll in their Twitter bio that's like, oh, the Jags ain't making the playoffs anymore. You look at their bio 2 weeks or 2 days ago, they're tweeting like, how did FSU not make it? This is a crime.
Yeah. All right. Here's what we'll do. I'll read out a game. We'll just pick a side. We'll go through like 10 of them. You
Yeah.
ready? All right. Holiday Bowl, Louisville at USC. Caleb Williams officially not playing the game.
Boom.
Yeah, I still like USC.
Steve?
I like Louisville. Who is USC without Caleb Williams?
I mean,
Yeah.
who were they with Caleb Williams?
I think we were awful this year.
Let's keep it a buck if we're gonna go there.
I hate that guy.
Yeah, I'm taking
I just-
Louisville.
Way too
USC
cocky.
I just think USC is going to give a lot of freshman playing time in this game, and I think they're just going to like Louisville didn't look impressive against the third string quarterback Florida State.
Not at all.
Fair. The FSU defense is
nasty. Yeah,
championship
their
caliber,
defense is
right?
great. Their defense is great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's why I said I was gonna say if you square FSU up against Michigan, I think it's a lot closer than people say it would be. It's not necessarily gonna be a blowout with that FSU defense, right?
Yeah, but it's like a case of Iowa. I don't think Florida State could score.
That is fair. Also fair.
All right, on to the Military Bowl presented by GoBowling.com. We have Virginia Tech at Tulane. Who are we
Tulane.
taking?
Yeah, give me Tulane. They're nice.
Yeah,
I do like Tulane. The Valero Alamo Bowl, Arizona at Oklahoma.
it's a good game. I like Arizona. I know Dylan Gabriel isn't playing. It's the start of Jackson Arnold in Oklahoma. And Arizona's just been playing so well this year. They're like the best team against the spread, I think, this year statistically. We're one of.
Yep.
I like Arizona.
Man, how unfortunate is it that this is the last year of the Pac-12? This has been the Pac-12's best year
By
Ever.
far. Oh, yeah.
Ever. Forever.
It's crazy, too, because everyone before the season was like USC, USC, USC. And then you have Oregon, you have Washington, you have Arizona, you have Utah, you have like USC, you have Colorado for Christ's
Yeah,
sake.
the
too.
Colorado Slurp Sesh in September. That really fell apart.
Did y'all see? First of all, I'm gonna pick Oklahoma in this game. Did y'all see Deion Sanders won the fucking Sportsman of the Year?
Oh, yeah.
Sports Illustrated. Some bullshit.
Did they even make a bowl game?
No, they went like
4-8.
I think they went like they were like 4-2 and then lost. They lost like 9 straight like Florida.
Yeah, they lost like the last
I
6
guess
games.
Billy Napier must have been a semifinalist for that award because what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, Oregon State, Notre Dame. I'm taking Notre Dame.
Good
I'm
game.
taking them as
Is
well.
Galilei playing?
No, he's in the transfer portal.
Yeah, they say he's going to Michigan State.
They think Uyunglele, he's down to 2 teams. It's Louisville or Florida State.
We just talked about it.
Wow. Wow.
Where'd you get Michigan State from?
Those were the first reports.
All right.
I didn't know either. I didn't understand. But who's Oregon State playing?
Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah, give me Notre Dame. Shout out Oregon State there. They almost shut us out last year. Almost.
Odd.
Agreed, Notre Dame.
All right. The Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. Missouri, Ohio State. Give me Missouri, bro. Missouri's been looking great this year. Great.
Yeah. How big would this be for the SEC?
Huge.
How big would this be?
I think based on the portal news, and as well as Marvin Harrison's probably going to sit out. Emeka Ibuka is probably going to sit out. A bunch of their offensive linemen and defensive guys are going to sit out for Ohio State. They don't have a quarterback anymore as well because Kyle McCord's in the transfer portal. So give me Missouri as well.
Yeah, I'm going to take Ohio State just off of talent. I mean, you don't go Bama, Georgia. You typically go Ohio State. They're just loaded. There's one of those teams. They just reload. Yeah. I like Ohio State, although Missouri's had a great year. Give them credit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sneaky good. Just didn't get enough recognition. Ole Miss, Penn State, in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Where are we thinking?
That's a good game. I think Penn State takes it though. I think it's a close one.
Steve?
Yeah, I like Ole Miss. Their offense is very good. Penn State, historically they've been known for their defense the last few years and how solid it's been. They had some shaky games this year. They weren't as good as people expected them to be. And while Ole Miss isn't necessarily rounded either, and Penn State's offense is kind of in the gutter right now, I like Ole Miss. I think they're just going to put up more points.
All right. Let's see. Oregon Liberty, the Fiesta Bowl.
Oregon.
Yeah, how the fuck did Liberty get this game?
I don't know. I really don't know. And what's even worse is the next one, the ReliaQuest Bowl, Wisconsin and LSU.
Yeah. Makes no sense.
We got one side here, LSU.
Yep.
All right. Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, Iowa at Tennessee. I'm gonna not watch this game. I don't like Tennessee, and Iowa is like the hardest team to watch unless you're trying to catch the over.
Do they have the line out already? I'm guessing the line's going to be with Tennessee. I'm going to say 34.5.
That's what it was, Michigan.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be shocked if it was like 28.5. Like just ridiculously low.
What was their lowest over under of the season, Iowa? Wasn't it like Iowa, Minnesota or something?
Yeah, it was like 26.5 or something like that. It was crazy.
It's
and it's under hit.
Yeah, they're like 11-2 on the under.
Yeah.
For a team that started the season with the mindset and like the goal of 25 points per game, like that was their one thing. 25 points per game. You come nowhere close to that and you're still ranked. I mean, you got to give it up for Iowa. Like, that's just unbelievable. I've never seen some shit like that before.
Hey, defense wins championships, man.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, didn't win them a Big Ten championship.
All right, boys. The time has come. Give me your pick for the national champion.
We're not going to talk about Georgia FSU.
We already did for like 20 minutes.
I would just like to open the floor up again, talk about how FSU is going to get smacked.
Noted. Thank you, Beef.
I'll start. In terms of the Rose Bowl, I think Alabama Michigan is really the second national championship that Alabama's going to be playing already. Played Georgia in the national championship. Now they're playing Michigan in the national championship.
Right.
And then whoever wins that game, it wins it. I think it's going to be close. I just think Nick Saban is going to figure out how to defeat Michigan in the end. And I think this is the game where it kind of falls apart for Michigan and then they start complaining and then Alabama wins it all. But in my matchup, give me Alabama Texas in the final and Alabama wins. Gets it done over like revenge game.
Nice.
That would be a hell of a rematch.
Steve?
Yeah, I mean, Alabama Michigan is such a great game. It's like throughout the season, Michigan, Ohio State are the top dogs, and then you look at the top dogs in the SEC, and it's like you watch them over the course of the season, and you just like don't know how they translate into like a game against each other, right? Like we don't really know how Michigan would square up against a top SEC team. We like to think that the SEC is reigns supreme, but Michigan is a solid team this year, like top to bottom. Like I think it's going to be great. Alabama's had some flaws; they're rolling right now, but man, I just like Alabama. I think it's going to be close, but you give Saban a month to prepare.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh is going to be on the sidelines again, by the way, which is good for them. But I mean, karma's the thing. I think Alabama's going to win. And on the other side, Texas, Washington, another great game. Like Washington, we've seen them be electric on offense. Texas has been great too. I think, Washington could probably sneak that one out. We've seen Texas lose to a team that, is not great. And then Alabama, Washington, I think it's a done deal. I think Alabama wins.
All right. As far as what I'm thinking, I have a future on Washington that I placed a couple months ago. So I would like them to win. Just based on my bank account, I would really like them to win. So I'm gonna pick them in that game, and then I'll probably take Bama, Washington in the finals, hoping Washington wins it all. So
that would be nice. I'd be rooting for that. I'd be rooting for Washington in that scenario.
That would be awesome. Absolutely ridiculous. All right, gentlemen. Today's draft.
It's a good
We
one.
have the biggest controversies in sports history in light of in lieu to
Something
FSU problem. So
where did they go in the draft?
yeah, literally, like that's just why we're doing it. Big news. So what we'll do is we'll do rock, paper, scissors. The odd man out picks the order. Hopefully we get it the first try. I know we struggle with this, but yeah, 5 rounds. You know how it goes, how I get the thingy ready. And
Yep,
then
I got it.
good to go. All right, Steve, put your fist up. All right, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Hype. All right, let's go. Beeve 1, Hod 2, me 3.
Yeah.
Man, number one, the greatest sports controversy of all time. I wasn't ready to have the first pick. But I'm a golfer.
Yeah.
Give me Tiger Woods. I mean, at the time, I'm talking about his cheating scandal.
Yeah.
At the time, bro. I mean, golf. Tiger Woods, black man playing golf. Golf wasn't popular. Tiger Woods, one of the most famous athletes in the world, probably of all time, on the top of fucking Mount Everest, just the king of the world, transcended sports. And then all of a sudden, a news story comes out that he backed into a fucking mailbox outside his house. His wife was chasing him with a 6-iron. And then everything just unfolded. He was getting with Perkins waitresses. He was getting with Waffle House waitresses. He was getting with hookers. He was getting anything that he could stick his dick in. Tiger Woods, supermodel wife, on
Yeah,
top of the world.
Odd.
It's always downhill.
good take. I guess with similar to Beef's logic, Beef played golf growing up. I played soccer growing up, my main sport. Biggest controversy ever was in 1986 World Cup in the hand of God.
Yep.
That's my pick.
Can you explain that? Was that like Maradona touched the ball with his hand or something, scored a goal?
Yes. So for those that don't know, Argentina was, I believe, in the World Cup semifinal game. And they're playing and it was ball came in from like, oh, it's gonna be hard to do this over Zoom, but it came in from one side. Maradona went like that with his face to flick it that way. And he punched the ball, but sold it with his head. And at that time, there's no replay, there's no VAR, they can't review it. The entire other team came running up to the ref saying that he punched it with his hand. The ref was like, I didn't see it. He went and talked to the linesman, and since the lineman was on the side where the ball came in from, he couldn't see it because his head was blocking his hand. Goal stood. Argentina ended up winning the game.
Crazy.
Yep.
So
Crazy.
much like Beef playing golf, Bob playing soccer, I play baseball. It's only right that the steroid era goes in the first round. The entire just genesis of the 1990s and early 2000s of the MLB, plagued by cheating, performance enhancing drugs. The steroid era, although it was the most fun to watch baseball ever, it's also the most scarred in baseball history.
Yep.
See, that's
Uh,
a good pick. That's a good pick if we were picking eras, but we're picking moments.
oh, I got a moment for you. How about this moment in 1994? A superstar Hall of Famer gets accused of killing a wife and another guy. Give me O.J. Simpson's murder trial.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That for a fucking moment, B.
Crazy.
And that is a moment.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
for sure.
really feel like I have to say more there. I mean, it sums it up to a T.
Um,
People sleep on the fact that he killed two people that night.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Quite
think
a
I'm trying to, I don't know. What do I think I gotta go. I mean, this one's just history. This one is like kind of the start of controversies in the sports world in 1919 with the Black Sox
Yeah.
scandal. I mean, it kind of just started everything.
Shout out Shoeless Joe.
Yeah, players banned for life. Shoeless Joe. I love the books Shoeless Joe and Me and that series. Whoever wrote that, forget, but shout out.
Field of Dreams.
Yep. So
Yeah.
Vibes.
My next pick, I'm gonna go with the whole Penn State underage
Dylan.
inappropriate activity scandal. Um I mean, it just ruined Joe Paterno's legacy. He was already a goated coach, but he definitely knew what was going on, and Jerry Sandusky is locked up. But that became a meme, that became a story. Penn State was kind of out of it for years. Now they're back, kind of. They can't beat Ohio State, Michigan. They're back, but I mean, that kind of shook the football world. So yeah, and then my next pick, um, I'm gonna go with Dale Earnhardt dying at the Daytona 500.
yeah,
Terrible moment. Uh, one of the greatest. Now I'm not, I mean I'm no NASCAR guy, but I know Dale Earnhardt, and the fact that he died at the pinnacle of his sport, crazy.
yeah. I remember that. Tough to watch. With my next pick, I'm gonna go to a sport that my dad loves, and that's cycling. And I'm gonna hit up Lance Armstrong. Um, I mean that it's just crazy. You go from being the GOAT of your sport with the whole cancer thing, everyone's behind him in the US, and then all of a sudden his life just came crashing down. Nuts. 7 titles stripped.
Nuts. Nut. It was nut.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was so nut. Yeah, everybody had the live strong bracelets, you know.
Yep.
That was like my first exposure to like, damn, Nike, does some cool stuff. They haven't
Yeah.
done
Oh,
anything.
I was always rocking the yellow Live Strong bracelet when I was a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. My next one, give me any gate by the Patriots. All the gates.
So
Just
Who doesn't?
as a angry Dolphins fan, I would like all the gates on there, please. Thank you. I'm permanently scarred by the cheating that the Patriots did. I believe I deserve a federal lawsuit and compensation for the way I have felt over the past 20 years. And it all started with the Spygate and then went to the Deflategate. So I would really appreciate some compensation for my struggles.
did the Dolphins just cheat this year though?
No, we
Why did
tried to get
why
Tom
did
Brady and it fell apart.
isn't that but the rules cheating?
Well, no, I mean, it would have been if we like actually got him, that would have been cheating. We didn't even fucking get him. We just got punished. Like we didn't even get him. So it could be if you want, I guess, but yeah. Um, Another big controversy coming out of the NFL. I feel like it's tough to overlook it. This guy was such a superstar growing up, and then he discovered his love of all things animals, most specifically the dog fighting. So give me Michael Vick's dog fighting ring where he went to prison for. I mean, what a fucking scandal, man. Just
Uh,
unbelievable.
It wasn't
that,
even on my radar. That's a good pick.
that's crazy.
Uh,
Um, I guess I gotta go with one. Um, I guess again another baseball one, but I mean Pete Rose.
Mm,
You,
that's a good one.
you just can't bet on yourself. It's not how life works. If it is how life worked, I think a lot more people would do it and
Yeah.
become rich like him.
I bet on myself and I'm broke.
Yep,
It hasn't paid
exactly.
off yet.
you don't have fucking 3,000 slapdick singles like Pete Rose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Overrated.
Tell him beef.
Uh, Mondo likes that. Pete Rose overrated. Fucking 3,500 singles. Get the fuck out of here.
Trash.
I'm gonna go with the tuck rule.
Mhm.
Tom
That's a good
Brady,
one.
legendary. He admitted it was a fumble. They changed the rules of the NFL for that. But yeah, classic moment. Whenever you think of Tom Brady, you normally think of the tuck rule ahead of, even Deflategate and Spygate and all that. But yeah. And then my last pick, rounding out my top five, I'm gonna go with the whole Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan
That's a good
Olympic
one.
key
That's it.
moment, right? Tanya Harding basically hired a hitman to break Nancy Kerrigan's leg.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't get more fucked up than that.
Yeah.
And the fact that she has publicity now, I think she had like a doc come out about her. Like nobody gives a fuck
With
about her.
Margot Robbie.
He's a
Mhm.
scumbag. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I'll have to
a
look at
movie.
it.
Margot Robbie played her. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? She's a three. But I'm not gonna get carried away here. That's my fifth pick.
Todd?
I mean, a lot of mine have gotten picked. Let's see. I'm going through the list. I don't got really any more. So now I think it's the perfect time to fit in Florida State.
Yeah,
The fuck losers.
that's valid. So, last pick of the draft. I knew nobody would take this, but it's by far the greatest controversy in sports history. Let me tell you a little bit about this basketball team from the year 2000 overseas in Spain. So, this team played in the Paralympics. They cheated. They won the gold medal. Everyone thought it was a good victory. Hooray for Spain. Paralympics, great story. Turns out 10 of the 12 of them were actually not mentally disabled. They just wanted to win a gold medal.
Well, you mean physically disabled?
No, mentally.
What was it, the Special Olympics?
Yeah, but they had to be checked for mental disability. So the biggest cheating scandal ever is actually a 2000 Spanish basketball team in the Paralympics where they faked. Have you guys ever seen the movie The Ringer
Yeah.
with Johnny Knoxville?
Yep.
Beeve, I recommend you watch it. It's pretty much this story played out in a comedy.
Okay,
It is hilarious.
that's funny.
So yeah, I figured no one would take it. It's a very niche kind of controversy, but it is hilarious that it happened and people got away with it. I could not believe it. All right, Hod, run through them.
All right. So Beeve, he has Tiger Woods' cheating scandal, Penn State and the whole Jerry Sandusky incident, Dale Earnhardt, rest in peace, the Tuck rule, and then Kerrigan versus Harding. I have Maradona, Hand of God, the Black Sox scandal, Lance Armstrong, Pete Rose, and Florida State. Again, get fucked.
Florida State.
And then Mondo, you have the steroid era in MLB. You have OJ Simpson. You have all Patriots cheating. You have Mike Vick and the 2000 Spanish Paralympics basketball team.
right,
now we
let's
got
get into
honorable
some
mentions.
honorables.
We'll start.
Take it away, Beeve.
Honorable mention. I'm gonna go with that. This is off the dome here, but that little league team that got stripped of their title or whatever for having like 14-year-olds on the roster.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Chicago team.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Hod.
Uh,
Trying to think. There was one. I'll throw Michigan in there just for why not? And there was one I was looking up that I've never heard of. This was crazy, and I think it deserves one. The NASCAR, or not NASCAR, F1, where the guy was on the same team, and the owner told him to crash into like everyone else so one guy could win,
Mm-hmm.
and then he was like banned.
Yeah.
So
I'm
that's kind of
I'm gonna take it to the NBA. I think you gotta at least bring up Tim Donaghy and his gambling on the NBA. And then I hate to do it, rest in peace, but you gotta bring up Kobe and
yeah.
that scandal.
what the rape?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Ray Lewis? Possibly killing
Murder.
somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Um,
What about like that one marathon runner
yeah, I was
who
reading up on
took like
that.
a car and
Yeah.
hopped in the race?
Yeah, won the Boston Marathon.
Yeah. Classic. Good work.
What else? There's so many.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
there's been a lot. A
There's so many.
lot. I mean, you could go through all college football with like the Reggie Bush, the Ohio State players.
yeah,
Um, who else? I mean, just SMU with the death penalty.
there's a ton.
Yeah,
Let us
just
know what we missed.
What was Mondo? What was SMU like? What were they? What were their violations?
um. So they were based. It was basically over a length of time.
Yeah.
They had done it for 16 years, and the NCAA didn't do anything about it. And it was basically players were getting sums of money from boosters from the actual college. And then the coaches, the management, they all knew about it. So it was like the one time in the history of college football that actually just pretty much college in general, that the death penalty ended up being used. And they shut down the program. They weren't allowed to play any games. And it was basically like a curse because after that, I think they had one winning season in the next like 20 years. So it ended up being like worse than that. It was just an overall curse. So that's kind of it in a nutshell and like a really quick.
Ooh, we're missing one good one. Steve Bartman,
Steve Bartman. A
Chicago
classic.
Cubs, scapegoat.
You could do
Man,
George
not
Brett,
even go by Steve Bartman anymore with how bad that scandal was.
the George Brett Pine Tar, Billy Buckner missing the ball at first.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, the Mets fucking second baseman dropping the pop up.
yeah.
MJ's gambling is another one.
Yeah, Michael Jordan's father being murdered.
Yeah, that's also pretty big. Um, oh, I saw this video on TikTok. It's a fishing scandal.
Yeah, they're putting
People
lead in the
are
fish.
fishing and they put lead in the fish to make it heavier
What?
to scale.
Yeah, for
Bro.
real. Like tournament fishing like that.
Yeah, it was
Shit ton
like
of money.
massive.
Yeah, yeah.
That's nuts.
Uh,
Uh, yeah.
like the MLB and the spider tack, the Astros fucking cheating scandal, bro.
Um,
Oh, I should have fucking done that one.
I'll add it to the honorable mention.
there's a million.
Um, I'm trying to think of what else it could be.
We're just looking at American sports. I guarantee there's some
Oh,
crazy
there's
shit
gonna
that's
be
going down in like
Oh,
yeah.
cricket. You know what I mean? Some cricket
Oh,
scandals.
for sure, dude.
Yeah, some rugby.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking like controversy just in general, I mean, the CTE stuff in the NFL covering that up, DeMar Hamlin's collapse, like that's a controversial moment in
Now
history.
the clone they got for him now.
Um, Deshaun Watson, Brittany Griner and her Russia thing. Um, trying to think. The mental health thing with Simone Biles.
Yep.
Yeah.
That whole scandal, that whole gymnastics
What
scandal.
about when
Yeah,
Ryan
that
Lochte
whole
and the
thing.
other swimmers got like robbed at gunpoint, allegedly in Brazil? Turned
Yeah.
out to be a whole lie.
Mm-hmm.
The what was the Olympic team in like the 70s that got murdered? Like
Oh,
the you know what I'm
oh
talking about.
no,
I think it
I'm thinking of that the Colombian soccer player who scored an own goal and then got murdered by the mob like a
no,
week later.
mine was like I think it was the Jewish team for some sport. They were like hostages and they got killed.
Yeah, I think that was the Atlanta Olympics.
Yeah.
Was it?
There was like a bomb that went off or something.
I mean, I just was looking up some that I forgot, and I forgot one that I was even a part of for making fun of. But a good old
Oh, the Manti Te'o.
yeah,
Oh, Bounty Gate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, Tiger King.
LeBron's cramp in the finals.
Yeah.
Controversial.
Paul Pierce taking a
Max
shit.
Kellerman's controversy of him wanting Iguodala to shoot rather than Stephen Curry on the last shot.
Yeah, I mean throwing the ball at the 1 yard line when you got
Oh
Marshall.
yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many.
I just insane amount of stuff.
Yeah, Mahomes.
Wasn't there the guy in boxing he wore like I don't know who it
Oh,
was, but he wore
weighted
like
gloves.
yeah, he wore like brass like rings underneath like his taping and gloves.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah.
Mike
Uh,
There's
Tyson
Magic
biting.
gets AIDS. That's pretty controversial.
Yeah. The whole what's it? Who's the soul surfer? I forget her name. Hamilton.
Yeah, yeah. Got her arm bit off by a shark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tough look out there.
Tough looks.
Everything
How
Jameis
about
Winston did in college.
Yeah.
the
Jalen
the,
Carter.
the sideline guy getting his leg broke this past weekend?
Yeah, we should talk about that now too, dude.
Remember
That
that?
was nuts. I felt so bad for that guy.
I was talking about it yesterday with Hart and Gary, and I was like, there's gotta be like just a human timeout in that circumstance.
Oh yeah.
Because it is beyond awkward watching Kamara be like, "You good, bro?" and then like having to jog off for the next play. Meanwhile, the dude's fucking legs making the letter L.
Dude,
Like,
so I don't think a lot of people noticed, but they showed like the replay, like the full replay, and they just panned to the guy like on the floor, and I didn't even see his leg. I just saw him like screaming mouth open. You could hear like him screaming like "oh," like through the like your sound system or through your TV, and then you just look at his leg and you're like, "Holy shit!"
yeah,
But I mean, it was like you felt so bad. I'm gonna sound like an asshole here. I did laugh a little bit, but like it was nuts. Like I wish that guy a speedy recovery.
Yeah, do you think Kamara feels bad? He's not necessarily the greatest. He doesn't have
I,
the greatest moral compass.
um, I bet he'll do something nice for the guy.
yeah. I mean, it's hard to feel bad if like in Kamara's eyes, the people he beat up deserved it. Like this guy didn't fucking deserve it. He was just doing his job and got hit sticked. Like it's just
The poor guy.
terrible.
You see collisions like that happen all the time. They're never as bad as that.
No, hell no. That was horrible. That was so bad.
Yeah, poor
It
guy.
was
He'll get a nice payout, but I'm sure he's in a lot of.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
he'll get he's gonna be set for a while. He'll get compensated nicely.
Oh, bro, a more personal one. Urban Meyer's heart attack stuff. His heart
Okay.
problems making him leave UF.
Yeah, and Ohio State.
Even more personal. Fucking um Nick Saban leaving the Dolphins. That one hurts a lot still.
Yeah, or well, I think Urban Meyer left Ohio State where he claimed it was because of his health, but it was really because of they had like a like a bullying scandal or something going on, right?
Yeah.
Talk about
Essentially,
Bro,
Dolphins
Malice at the Palace.
Dolphins had a bullying
Mouse at
scandal.
the Palace. Yeah, that was
Meta
crazy.
World Peace fights fucking Turtle from Entourage.
Yeah.
Richie Incognito.
Yeah. Donald Sterling just letting the hard R rip on video.
So many, unlimited.
Dude, we could have done like a 10-round draft. There's so many things we could have brought up. Yeah, I guess we'll end it here. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the episode, please like, subscribe, share with everyone you know. We really hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you go vote in the poll on Twitter so that we know who won the draft. But we will see you guys on the next episode next week.
Peace.